This presentation will provide information about the Vocational Rehabilitation Program and about how you, as community rehabilitation providers, also referred to as CRPs, fit into the process. We'll start with an overview of what a CRP does and then delve into the vocational rehabilitation process. What exactly is a CRP? A CRP is an agency or an individual who is approved by the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, also referred to as DVR, to receive referrals from vocational rehabilitation counselors to provide services. What does a CRP do? There are a wide variety of VR services that CRPs provide, but basically services fall into three categories. 1. Assessment. 2. Employment services. And 3. Services provided on the job. Assessment services may include assessing an individual's vocational interests, strengths, and limitations. Employment services may include teaching job search skills, identifying local employers, or providing direct job placement. Services provided on the job may include assisting an individual in learning their job tasks or work routines. Now we're going to do a brief overview of DVR, and we'll start with the mission. DVR's mission is to assist people with disabilities to get and keep good jobs. How does DVR work? DVR is an individualized, time-limited, eligibility-based program. Individuals who receive services must meet 3 eligibility criteria. 1. The person must have a disability, either physical, mental, or learning. 2. The disability must create a barrier to employment. It must make it difficult to keep or maintain a job. 3. The person will benefit from VR services. A person must need these services to obtain or maintain employment. There are 5 basic steps to the VR process. 1. Application. 2. Eligibility. 3. The development of an individual plan for employment, also known as an IPE. 4. Services and training. And 5. Employment. As a CRP, it's important to know what step an individual is on in the VR process. This will help you better understand the purpose of the services you're providing. The first step of the VR process starts when a person, generally a person with a disability, submits an application to receive VR services. The second step is eligibility. To recap, to be eligible, an individual must meet the 3 requirements. 1. They must have a disability. 2. That disability must create a barrier that makes it hard to get or keep a job. And 3. The individual will benefit from VR services. Only a VR counselor can determine eligibility, and they must make that determination within 60 days after DVR receives the application. Step 3 is the development of an individual plan for employment, known as the IPE. Both the individual and their VR counselor develop the IPE together. The IPE is an important document. It's the person's roadmap to employment. IPEs have the following. They have the employment goal, they identify barriers to employment, and they include the services and training an individual may need to obtain employment. These may include CRP services and college and vocational training. The final step of the VR process is employment. The individual obtains a competitive job in the community. Once employed, a VR counselor may decide to use a CRP to provide on-the-job supports. Following 90 days of acceptable work performance, an individual's case will be closed as successful. As a final note, here are the 3 federally mandated timelines for the VR process. 1. Eligibility must be determined within 60 days after the application is received. 2. IPEs must be completed within 90 days following eligibility determination. 3. An individual's case can be closed following 90 days of successful employment.